There's a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to invite everybody over to the other live. Go ahead and say your welcomes.
Could you pop that into some Telegram groups for me too, Heather, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I don't know what I did wrong
That's
there.
okay. The same thing that I did the last time. Hello, everyone. We are going to figure out these technical things eventually.
one day.
Give us a minute.
Oh, dear.
Right. You guys can go ahead and I'll share all the links.
Thank you, Heather.
Heather, are you sharing the link on the people that are in that original post?
Yes, I will do that as well.
Okay.
It's never easy, is it?
No.
I need to find it.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody that's joining us live. Thank you, everyone that's asked us questions. Thank you, everyone that's going to join us in the chat. And thank you, everyone that's going to watch this in the future. We really appreciate you. So today I'm joined by the busy bee, Heather Hink.
Hello.
From Quantum Healing Within. Warrior Tony from Ropes and Wings. Now, we've done a couple of these before and they're such good fun, but we've never had a special guest before. And this week we have a special guest. This is the lovely Laura Whitworth from Soul Center Healing Hypnosis. How are you, Laura?
I am so good. I've just been away for a few days to a cabin in the woods in the middle of the most beautiful scenery, and it had a hot tub outside. And it was near to the beach. It was amazing. So I feel really refreshed and very happy.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And how are you, Tony?
I'm doing great. It's been a laid back week and I'm just here. It's beautiful.
Awesome.
You actually live in the place where I've just had to kind of visit to make myself feel better. You actually live there.
I'm here all the time.
Yeah.
Being in the woods, being able to ground whenever I want, it's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And you've got a pool.
And I got a pool.
Yeah.
Yep, I do.
Living the dream.
Quit making everybody feel bad. I mean,
including myself.
I'm just checking the chat, you guys.
I am just gonna pop this live on some of my groups. Well, if you guys could possibly just introduce yourselves and tell people where to find you. Sorry.
There we go.
So can we do ladies first? Can we start with Laura? Laura, please tell everyone a little bit about yourself and where everyone can find you.
Sure. So for everybody that's not come across me yet, my name is Laura Whitworth. I am the founder of Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, which is a hypnosis modality which marries entity release, quantum travel, and higher self questions. And the reason that I developed that modality was because during my years of using quantum healing techniques, I found that many of my clients, when they came to see me, I couldn't get them under hypnotherapy because they had blocks, they had entities, they had certain energies that were attached to them that would stop them from accessing a very, very deep theta state, which is the state that you need to go into hypnotherapy. Sometimes people would have traumas, they would have grief, they'd have traumas that happened in this lifetime. And I developed this particular modality in order to be able to deal with all of that trauma, all of those entities, all of those earthbound spirits, all of those energies at the front end of the quantum hypnotherapy, so that then we can get our clients into a really deep theta state so that we can have a really great quantum travel. As well as being the founder of Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, I am a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist. I'm an author of several books and have my own YouTube channel as well, in which I put all of, well, not all, only the people that wish me to, which actually is a very, very small percentage, but I put some of my sessions on YouTube as well. And you can book a session with me or you can train with me at www.SCHHofficial.com. And that's how I met all of you guys.
And Laura, we have a class coming up next week. Live course.
Yes, we do. Is it next week? Oh my God.
Yes.
Where does the time go? Yeah, it's next week already. It's next week.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week.
Yeah,
Live course.
and it's not too late to book on, actually. So if it's something that you are wanting to do, you've been watching this kind of work for a long time, it interests you. If you want to come train with me, come and train with me next week. And you don't have to have any previous experience, but what you do need is an absolutely deep drive to want to heal people, a genuine thirst, interest, mission to heal people. That's it. If you've got that, you can learn the rest, and I'm happy to teach you.
Perfect. Thank you, Laura. And Heather, please tell everyone a bit about yourself and where to find you.
Hello, my name is Heather Hink. I am with Quantum Healing Within. You can find me at quantumhealingwithin.com. I also have a channel where I get to share some absolutely amazing quantum healing hypnosis sessions. And I'm so excited that I just got to post two with Kaz, one with Kaz and one with Tony, and they were just absolutely amazing. So be sure and check those out. I started this journey off as learning beyond quantum healing hypnosis. That started me on my journey and was absolutely incredible. And then I started working with Laura's method, doing the entity release, which just added that amazing extra layer that you need in your sessions. There's so many things that we come across in these sessions. They're so multifaceted, aren't they? And so just having that extra layer of that extra tool that we can use has just been incredible. So also how I've met all of you, and it's just been an incredible journey.
Hasn't it? Thank you, Heather. And Warrior Tony, tell us about yourself and where we can find you.
Absolutely. You can find all my handles on social media, Ropes and Wings, and you can find me there if you want to book a session. And definitely come join Laura's live course next week if you want. It's freaking beautiful. And man, I guess that's a question of ours later. So I'll go over everything else in that question about our journey and stuff. So you can find me at Ropes and Wings. And I call myself the Warrior Healer because that's what I did this whole life, was a paramedic. So
beautiful. Thank you, Tony. Should we just dive in then with our first question?
I say go
Let's do
for
it.
it.
Okay. So this question number one is from Derek. What advice can you give in releasing negative programming, scripts, and hypnotic suggestions that might be inhibiting people? So I want to start this off. So I used to, before I went on this path, I used to get up in the morning and I'd have some little mantras that I'd say, right? And I'm like, I'm good. Said my little mantras and off I go. And I've realized recently that's like sticking a band-aid on like a gaping wound, really. And since I've been doing this healing work, I've realized that ultimately what you need to do to get rid of the programs is find that piece of your soul, go deep within and realize how amazing you are and how beautiful and spectacular we all are inside. So it's that going within. It's a bit of a cliche, really, but when you do that, your vibration rises, your consciousness rises, and these old programs kind of melt away all by themselves. And then you can start the work. What do you guys think?
I think
I'll
also
go.
with that. Oh, I'm sorry, Tony. You want to go?
No, go Heather. No, go Heather.
I was just going to say, I think with the programs as well, it's what we tell ourselves constantly, isn't it? We run those programs on a regular basis and we keep them playing. I know this is something I've been working on with myself lately. And I just say to myself, like, stop telling yourself that story. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Because we're creating those programs as well. We're embedding them in our system. And it's hard. It's hard to shift what you're constantly being told and what you see in your reality. Going within is perfect. But also what's amazing about these hypnosis sessions is we can help you figure out where that program started from. So it may not have even been in this life, but a past life, and you've been running that program on repeat through lifetimes. So with the hypnosis session, we can understand that emotion that's stuck or trapped, that's running through your mind. And we can take you back to that time where it started and help you figure out how you can release it, what you need to understand about it, and how you can completely just override that and create a new program.
Beautiful.
Tony, what do you think?
Well, and the medical system, they want to view the body, this body, as a mechanical system. It's an electrical system. And once we remove those blockages and emotional and traumatic baggage that we're all carrying, the programming and the such, that flow, that electrical flow can move through again, and it opens up amazingly. And that's one way that healing hypnosis can help, is just removing those programs and helping to remove those programs. And they just fall away, and you discover yourself, and you discover where those came from, and we can get rid of it.
Laura, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in this world as well are surrounded by lots of other negative people who are all very traumatized and very low vibrational. And many people don't realize that they are in a low frequency and that they are just constantly looping these same negative thoughts. And a lot of these negative thoughts are linked to traumas that they've incurred in this lifetime. And if you can get to the bottom of that in session and remove that emotional baggage that you've carried around that's kept those emotional sort of loops going up here, then that's when you can get to the true healing. And also removing those entities, because the traumas that we receive let the entities in. Once the entities are in, the entities are there whispering, you're a bad person, you're useless, you're rubbish, you can't eat that, all these kinds of things. And then that makes the person descend even lower into these terrible loops. Also, if you throw in an addiction as well, that's a coping mechanism that we all try and do to cope with this place that we're in, then these loops become even worse. So you've got to reprogram the neural pathways in the mind. And that's one of the beautiful things that we can do with a client together in hypnotherapy, is actually getting right in there, like what Heather says, find out what the root cause is. So you can take somebody to a trauma in this lifetime, look at that trauma, help them heal the emotion, take off all of the entities that were attracted to the negativity and pain of that emotion. Then once you've done that, we can say, right, let's go to the root cause in the quantum space of why this trauma occurred in this lifetime. And then we can hop to the root cause. And then once you identify the root cause, feel it, heal it, and release it, it totally changes everything that's connected in the quantum space, because everything is connected.
Yeah.
Fab answers, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, question number 2. Okay, this could be quite a long one. We'll try and keep it short. What were your individual journeys to bring you to a path of healing? Tony, do you want to? But keep it short.
I'll try to keep it short. So I guess I spent 30 years as a medic working on various teams, SWAT teams, bomb teams, all kinds of teams, disaster teams. But that whole time that I worked, I realized that the medical system was shit, really. It wasn't getting down to the root cause. And I was always looking for natural, holistic ways and approaches to try to correct the medical problems. And it wasn't until just 2 years ago, when all this crap started happening, that I started having a realization. I'm like, oh my God, it's so much deeper than that. It's so much deeper than what the medical field is making it. And like I said before, that that it's an electrical system. When we clear that out, it allows, that all those blockages and stuff make it manifest into this reality, because it's not cleared. And once we clear it, the body heals naturally, and it starts getting in balance and healing itself. And so that's what steered me onto this path. So, I didn't keep it short now, did I?
That's short enough. No, that's good.
So when this all started happening, I was feeling anger and being scared and stuff like that. And I realized it's not my own, it's the collective. And so that steered me down this path. I found hypnosis. I'm like, oh, that's the ticket. That's what I need to help clear and heal myself. And I took BQH, Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis. And then when I started doing sessions, there was still something yet deeper that we weren't getting to get to the healing we needed. And then that's how I found Soul Center. So I guess it was kind of short.
It's perfect.
Well done.
It's perfect.
Heather, do you want to say anything about your?
Yeah, sure. Mine was just, I think, just a big shakeup in my life. It was like lots of things were sort of moving away, and lots of things were moving in at a very rapid rate. I was not a healer in the first part of my life. I was a graphic designer, marketing. I did all the design stuff, but I always had a love for self-help books and being on that, understanding the mind and how to keep control of that and those types of things. And that part of my life, when it started to shift, it's almost like, you start going, oh, hang on a sec. I'm being drawn to all of these different healing modalities that I never even knew existed. All of these things, these crazy things are coming into my reality. And I was going through just a process of really remembering who I am, because, for the first part of our life, if you're not awakened, you just think you're a human here living this one human life. And I started remembering I'm a soul, and I've been all of these things, and these past lives started coming back through different modalities, Akashic Records readings and different sessions that I was getting. And I realized that I've been a healer in many lifetimes, as most of us have. And it was just time to start to step back into that. So I was being drawn to all of those things. And it's weird because I look back and I think I tapped back into it so quickly. You would think that it wouldn't come as quickly as it did, but it just seemed to come very naturally. So we just have all that in us. It's just a matter of reconnecting with those different pieces of ourself that are in those other lifetimes and bringing it all into this lifetime.
100%. Thank you, Heather.
Yeah.
Laura, please tell us your amazing story.
I'm trying really hard how to think I can condense this into a small thing. But in a nutshell, everything that I've been through in my life has been about getting me to this point right now. And I've been through a heck of a lot of really traumatic things in my life, really bad, that I'm not going to go into because I'm healed from that now. But the reason that I became healed was you have to get broken open, don't you? You have to get broken open in order for that initial spiritual awakening to begin. And I had my moment where I literally broke open. And once that spiritual awakening started, there was no stopping it. And I literally felt like I was losing my mind because there was nobody else around me that was awake. Yes. I woke up quite early and literally I didn't know anybody anywhere. The only place I could find anybody that was awake was on the internet. And it was only through training in past life regression and understanding why the key really bad things that have happened to me in my lifetime have occurred, and being able to get some peace around that I was able to move forwards. And then the final stage in my puzzle about my journey and my healing was when I found out more about entity release and began to study it and began to get clients who had entities, to the point where the only clients I would get had entities, because it made me understand that much earlier in my lifetime, years ago, that I had an entity. And it made me, that was the final piece in my personal puzzle for me to understand, okay, well, that's why I battled with that addiction, because I came into this family to take that demon off of our family line, battle the addiction, win, and get rid of the demon, get rid of the entity. And now my entire family line is healing all the way back through, literally, because I've given my own family the tools and the techniques that they need to find healing around their own things that have occurred with their parents. You know, we carry these traumas forward, don't we? We think, oh, why did my dad do that to me? Why did my mum do that to me? But when you start to understand that a lot of these things occurred, it wasn't their fault. It was the traumas that occurred to them. These entities got in, and it's the entities that are working them like puppets. You know, let's just see what trauma we can cause in this family today. And these entities run literally down the lineage of the person. And so once I realized, oh, okay, so I was the one that came in to battle that, end it for my family, spread the healing all the way down and throughout the quantum space, and also develop the modality that's going to help other people to do that, that's given me my healing. And now I actually look at each and everything that's happened to me, and some of them are horrendous. I am so thankful for each and every part. And I could not have said that years ago. I mean, I just couldn't. No way. But now I can say thank you. And I understand why I put those steps in place. They were all necessary. Each and every one.
Beautiful. Thank you, Laura. Can I divert for a second? Do you think this generation then of people are here to end the traumas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stops
because I feel that in my own life too. So yeah, it does stop here.
And we've incarnated in some really, really heavy, you know, ancestral lines in order to say, no, it stops here.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to just anyone watching this that's new to all this? What advice would you give them to, if they have the trauma in their family history and line?
Do exactly the same thing that I did with my family, which is heal yourself first. It starts with you.
Yeah.
Heal yourself first, so that you are an absolute, so nothing can trigger you regarding your family. And then once that has occurred for you, it starts to spread back out. It affects every single person that you've got a cord to and from, energy wise, and it will spread throughout the entire lineage.
That was one of the first lessons that I learned that the guides really brought in for me, you know, because when you start going through your awakening, you want to run out into the streets and try to get everybody to wake up because that's what you think you're supposed to do. And then you realize, oh, hang on, that's not going to work. And the guides when I was doing my automatic writing and things, trying to connect, they just kept saying, stop trying to wake everybody up. All you need to focus on is yourself. That's it. You need to do the inner work. You need to get the emotions up and out. You need to do the clearing and the healing on yourself, because when you are in a healed state, your frequency radiates out and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. And your frequency will begin to push the energy up and out of another person. So it's not about the words. It's not about what you say. It's not about trying to convince. It's simply about being in a completely healed state that is the most effective for everybody around you.
Yeah. Well, it takes me back to what I said before about just raising your consciousness and your frequency by going within and realizing how amazing you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds so simple though, but it's a journey, isn't it?
It's a journey.
And that kind of answers the question that Tam had in the chat here about how to share this new way of living with your loved ones, child and spouses. Do they get it? Do they find their own way? And it's that healing ourselves and sharing our light. They'll find it. They'll find it themselves. We don't have to be shouting it on the streets. They'll see how it's improving ourselves, and they'll want to do the same. We don't have to preach behind a pulpit to tell everybody about this.
You know, in my sessions,
need to share the light.
I'm sorry. What they say is every single person is on their own journey, and it just may not be their time to wake up. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason. And in Kaz and I's session just recently, the guides talked about quite a bit. Those people who are not awakened just yet, they are playing a massive role in this whole experience. A lot of them are going to have a lot of emotions come up, and it's going to come up very quickly. But what came through was they're going to be the charge that's the energetic charge that's going to come up, that's going to push us over to where we need to be. So they said, let them be where they are, because they're also playing a very important role. It's needed at this time. We just don't quite understand it because we want everybody to see things the way that we see them.
That's so beautiful, Heather. And it's like everything, it needs something to create that reaction, doesn't it?
It's the catalyst. We all have had these catalysts in our lives that have pushed us in this direction. So that may be the big catalyst that gets us where we're going.
And you should all go watch that video. Not now.
It's so good. Both of them are so good.
Yeah, that was so good.
What Kaz, you talked about it in your last session with Heather, though, too, is that emotional explosion that has to happen.
The emotional explosion. That's what she called the video. Yeah.
Right. So
because I kept saying that over and over again.
You said it.
Okay, so the next question is from Luna Rose. Is there a place for SCHH or QHHT in the new Earth? And if not, what do you see yourselves doing? Have you asked during the session? Well, this also came up with my session with Heather the other day. And so I went into a life in the future in Heather's community she had created. And there was most definitely a place for quantum healing in that community. Yeah. So this doesn't just New Earth happens and this all ends. It seems like a continuous journey of healing for quite a while.
Which makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Regarding what do we, I was just going to say, regarding what do we see ourselves doing? I see myself doing a heck of a lot of exploring.
Yes, me too. I just want to travel.
Yeah.
Around all these little communities.
Well, that came up. I think you brought through some information about travel, and what you were seeing was it was something in the air, but it got us where we were going much quicker. So it was almost like we could hop over to this community or hop over, because in this session, Laura, you were hopping over to our community, just popping in. So
love it.
We've all been talking about portals. When are the portals going to open up so we can just, go back and forth?
So that's something that you hear a lot in sessions, that when all of this darkness came into Earth that we're in the process of filtering out at the moment, that the organic portal system on our planet closed down. So we know we've got technological portals that we can still use that transport you to different places. But the organic portal system closed down. It was a form of quarantine because they didn't want what had managed to get into Earth to be able to then, pervade around the wider universe. So the first thing that they tried to do was close the portal systems down. So when we get to a certain frequency and those open out again, that's going to be amazing. I mean, I just can't wait. I'm just going to be hopping in and out of portals constantly.
I want to pop to Tony's and then pop to Heather's and pop to whoever's.
And, when I first started to wake up spiritually, that's the first thing that came in. I just all of a sudden overnight became obsessed with portals, and I didn't even know what they were. But I just was obsessed with running through the woods and jumping through a hole and then coming out somewhere else. And like reliving scenes where I was literally running and got into this portal by the skin of my teeth before it closed, and I knew, done. You're not going to catch me now. And I'm thinking, what's that all about? That's interesting.
I had an interesting session where we talked a lot about portals, and we were talking about when people who have disappeared. I know this is a little crazy, but people who have disappeared, in the forest, in the woods, and they're just gone. And so we were asking, well, what happens to those people? And they can go into one of those portals that takes them into a completely different reality. Like, what happens to the person? Do they just adjust to where they are? Or anyway, it was interesting information beyond what my mind can even understand.
And if they've gone into a different timeline through that portal, they may not even realize that they've gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
But the people in that timeline will be different versions of the ones that they're used to. Yeah. So they may be thinking, why are all these people all different. It's because they've somehow gone into an alternate reality.
That's crazy.
But all of these people that go missing, and the Bermuda Triangle and disappearances and all that kind of thing, these boats that just disappear and there's
The
no wreckage.
airplanes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They've hit somehow a portal where it's energetically aligned, absolutely perfect. Because what has to happen for that portal to work is that your energy has to be a match for that portal. So say, for example, it's a positively polarized portal, really high frequency. If you get something low frequency that tries to hop through it, they won't be able to make it work. But if you get a high frequency being that is an energetic match to that portal, you can access wherever you want.
So if you guys in sessions had a sense of how these portals will work in the future?
I wrote one of my books,
which I haven't read. I'm sorry, but yes, yeah.
And also as well, each portal is aligned with different places in the universe. So if you know where that portal is going to go, the higher up the dimensions you get, you can go anywhere. You can just alter your energy to go where you want to go. You don't even have to use portals. You can just think of the place that you want to go and you'll just be there. But when you are a lower frequency, but higher than what we are now, you use this portal system as a means of getting around. But the portals are geographically aligned throughout the universe to different places at different times. So say, for example, you want to go to Mars and you know when that portal is going to be aligned to Mars, that is when you would go. But if you get there a little bit late, you could find yourself on a different planet.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, because
I want to go to the moon. I want to check the moon out and see what that's about up there.
Well, a lot of the traffic between Earth and the moon, they do it through ships in the ocean, because there's lots of portals in the ocean that will take you out onto the moon. So that's one of the reasons why we don't see many spaceships leaving the Earth going up to the moon. It's because all of these discs enter a portal in the ocean and pop out in a portal on the moon.
I'm just so curious about the moon. I keep asking to go there in a session. I'm asking my guys to take me because I just want to know what's going on there.
Don't ask, because they won't take you when you ask.
No expectations whatsoever.
No expectations.
Good point. Very
Poor
good point.
Poor Heather.
No,
Poor Heather.
I just want to be on a ship.
So I have one here from Nat about what happens to our pets when they leave their body. Is there some sort of guide that is there to bring them to the light of source? Laura, do you have any knowledge on that?
So regarding the animal kingdom, I hate using the word hierarchy, but everybody will understand what I mean. There is an evolutional hierarchy, if you like, in terms of the different stages and forms of animal that you go through. So the first few stages will be the joint group consciousness. So I once had a session where a guy experienced himself as a fish. He felt himself being pulled out of the ocean on a hook. He felt himself being whacked over the head on the ship, but then his consciousness floated out of that fish and rejoined the shoal, and it rejoined the consciousness of another fish in the shoal, because they are a group consciousness. When you get to the more highly evolved animals, so say dogs and cats, those guys will have guides. They will have their own team, because it's those kinds of animal lifetimes that you go into that are a precursor before they will allow you inhabit a human form. And so as animals, you get to experience love for the first time. All of us that have got dogs and cats, we know how much they love us. We feel that love from those animals. And so you'll get to experience those lifetimes first, and then once they feel that, yeah, you've got, a lot of your training done in these animal bodies, then you move up to the human lifetimes. And that being said as well, when you go into these more highly evolved animals, such as dogs and cats, if those animals die in very, very traumatic circumstances, they can become bound to the earth just the same as humans can if they die very, very traumatically and don't understand that they need to cross over into source. And I have had sessions where I have taken, as an example, traumatized animals off of a vet, because when those animals were euthanized, they didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do. Their owners weren't there at the time, and so they just stayed with the vet. So absolutely, at that point, when you become a dog or a cat, you will have guides, and those souls can become bound much in the same way that we can become bound, and we've all got guides and guardians. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% does. Yeah. So the higher up you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say too, what I found in some of my sessions, which I think is really cool, is that a lot of our animals are healers and they come in to help us heal. I know in one of Kim's sessions, they said her cat is helping her to heal different things. And so they said when he lays across you, that is his way of healing. And we've found in sessions that some of our dogs are from different planets. You know, they're souls from these different planets that have come in to also assist us. I've got 2 bunnies that it's come through that they're both from Sirius. I don't know if that's true, but that's what's come through. But I've also been told that they will get to have in their next life, they will get to be humans and they will come in as sisters because they're very bonded in this life. So they're coming in to experience this life as the buddies, and then they get to go and be sisters. So matches up with what you were saying, Laura.
You'll hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be here right now, and there's only so many human forms.
Yeah.
So many people that will see, you know, their galactic friends struggling, if you like, on the Earth plane at this time of the Great Shift. They'll say, I want to go in and help. And they'll say, well, there's no more human bodies. And they'll go, well, she wants to get a cat. I'll be that cat. And then that cat comes in. And a lot of the animals that you will get will often be Sirius energy as well.
Yeah.
because Sirius, a lot of the forms on Sirius are animalistic, if you like. Yeah.
Hey, Laura, do you want to take this question that Tam put on the chat? They had to put their chocolate lab down yesterday, and because it was done medically, is the dog moving on with its guide? We were with them. So I think there's a way, and you're a better expert at this, there's a way that you can help that loved one, that dog, to move on the way it's supposed to. Do you understand my question?
So it didn't die in traumatic circumstances, and they were with the dog when it passed.
Yes.
I would say that chocolate brown lab will definitely have passed over correctly. Yeah. The only ones to worry about are the ones that die in really, really traumatic circumstances. Everything happens so quickly, they don't really understand the dead, and they just go and find their owner, or they stand with somebody that they feel safe with. It's the same as like with you, Tony, being a paramedic and in the hospital. People sometimes don't realize that they've died, so they go and find somebody who they feel safe with. But if all of the family members were there and they passed over in a situation where it wasn't traumatic, then yeah, they will have passed over perfectly. And we had a similar situation like that in our family with our Irish red setter. And she came to see me 3 days after she passed in a dream. Aww. And it was the most beautiful thing. So I would say to her, set that intention, make that connection in meditation that you want to see them in your dream, for them to let you know that they're okay. Or you can do it in meditation as well, if that's something that you want to do. But yeah, I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine.
Beautiful. I often hear about people visiting in dreams when they've passed. It's pretty common, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend who I was so attached to, and he passed away a few years ago, and I see him in my dreams a lot. He's always just chilling in my dreams. And it's weird because then I come back into my life in the daytime and he's not there. But I always see him, and I always remember that I've been with him at nighttime.
Yeah. And you appreciate and remember those dreams. Yeah. Lovely. Okay, so the next question is, what do I need to do or to have to get ready for an SCHH session? Okay.
Who wants
Heather's Heather's
you know, I just created some videos to send out to my clients. I've been meaning to do it forever, and I try to provide as much information to help them prepare. I would say the biggest thing is the audio setup, because we're doing these sessions online. And a lot of times we find that that's the first hiccup that we have. And when you're coming into one of these sessions, you want to be relaxed, you're excited about your session. And the worst thing is for the audio not to work. So we ask, everybody to have one of these headsets, which I know is a little bit more of an investment, an extra $20 or so. But they're so important because they give you a good sound quality. They help us to hear what you're saying so we can guide you without asking you to speak up. It just makes all the difference in your session. Plugging in your devices has also been another one that's come up for me. It's important to have those devices plugged in because the power can drain really quickly. We're using Zoom, which takes up a lot of power on your phone, or actually, we don't want you to use your phone. We prefer you to use your laptop or your computer, but it drains a lot of power. So you want to make sure that you're plugged in and just have everything tested well in advance. Because I know sometimes, you think, oh, I'll just plug my headphone in and it's going to work. And Zoom sometimes requires you to do a little extra configuration. So you'll want to go in and use the little test microphone and speaker link. And that way you can hear that it's coming out of your microphone and out of your headset, and make sure that you're connected. And if you can test with someone before your session, that's even better, because that way you can make sure that they're hearing you correctly so that everything flows when you get into your session and we can go right in and do all this great work that we're doing.
There's another really good test that you can do as well on the back of that, because sometimes people don't understand that their microphone isn't working.
Yeah.
They think that the person that they're testing with thinks that they're working okay because they can hear them, but they're actually on the computer audio.
Yeah, they're sitting too close. Yeah.
So if that person just speaks into the headset, then carries on speaking, takes the headset off, carries on speaking, then puts it back on. If there's no disparity in that noise, then you know that they're working on the computer headset. If the microphone's working, then as soon as they took that headset off and carried on talking, you shouldn't be able to hear them. And you could actually do that check by yourself. You don't even need to have somebody else on. You could record yourself in your own little session with nobody else there, do the talking, headset on, headset off, and then play it back because you've recorded it, and see if there is a change in the noise.
That's a great idea.
It's really good to do. And also, no Bluetooth headsets. They're terrible. They've got to be a wired headset. Also, ideally, have a wire running out of your router into your computer, because if you've got a wired internet, it's going to be really, really stable. If you're working on wireless, it's not as good. If you're going to do it on wireless, it needs to be a very, very strong signal. And obviously you need no pets in the room, because they will jump on you during the session. No fire, that's for obvious reasons. And something that we always say is we like to make sure that we take an emergency contact, that if anything were to occur, we could get hold of really, really quickly, and they could come round and make sure that the client was okay.
Switch your phone off.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the notifications on your computer, because those pop up and you'll go, oh, there's dinging in the back.
That will definitely keep you out. And also I tell people to leave their conscious mind at the door, please. Not welcome in our session.
And practice doing some visualizations as well before. Practice going within and put yourself in some beautiful scenery and see what you can see. So you've got an idea of, are you the type of person who can see things really well? Are you somebody that might get, one image and then it disappears and then something else? But do some practice before the session, because I think there's kind of a bit of a misconception that we as SCHH practitioners are going to, say some magic words, bim bam bomb, and all of a sudden, they're in this strange place that they've never accessed before. And that's not the case. We're not doing anything to them that's not natural. They access this brainwave state themselves every single day, at least twice. Yeah. What we are doing is keeping them in theta. That's the only unnatural part, if you like, because normally theta is a state that you pass through to get down into delta, which is sleep. But when we're keeping them in theta, that's the unusual part, because normally you wouldn't stay in that particular brainwave state for too long. So that's what makes it tiring, because we're not used to, as humans, staying in the theta brainwave state for two hours.
So guided meditations is a really good way to practice, isn't it, for your session?
Absolutely.
I think one of preference, because we all see stuff so differently. And when I first started doing hypnosis sessions, I thought it was going to play out like a movie. And I'm in that hypnosis session, I'm thinking, well, shit, this isn't playing out right.
I was thinking the same thing in mine.
and until you figure until you figure it out, it's, I'll get an image, a flash, a word will come up, and you just get in the flow and just say whatever pops up, because it's all in your third eye. It's all inside yourself, and it doesn't play out like a movie. Not for some people it might, but when you watch our sessions, you might think that it is actually playing out for a movie for us, and it's not really. It's an inner knowing. The words are coming out, the colors, the images for a split second, things like that. And it go ahead, Laura.
I was just going to say, that's a really, really important point that you've brought up there. Many people watch our sessions on YouTube and think, wow, that's amazing, I'm going to have a session. Then they have their session and think, well, that didn't feel like all of those looked. And there is something quite key here that I think we need to explain. When you look at Dolores Cannon and all of the books that she wrote, and the subjects that she wrote those books using, they were all something called somnambulists or somnambulistic. So what that means is, when they go into their hypnotic experience, they actually meld with that other part of their consciousness that's in this other multidimensional space. So they experience their hypnotherapy session as if they are the person. But probably 1 out of every 15, maybe even more than that, 1 out of every 15 clients is somnambulistic. The other 14 people that you're going to see aren't going to experience it like that. And everyone will read Dolores Cannon's books and see all of these YouTube amazing videos and say, well, it didn't work for me. I didn't see it like that. And they think that they've either failed or that you didn't do it right. And it's nothing to do with that. Everybody is absolutely different. The somnambulists, wow, wouldn't we all love to be a somnambulist? But they're quite rare. And that's why Dolores would pick certain somnambulistic clients, and she'd work with them over and over again. And she'd write her book around that one particular client. But your other 14 clients aren't going to experience it that way. Some people don't even see anything in the third eye. They'll smell or taste their way through the session, or they'll just do it on a knowing. That's what it's like for me. I just know what's happening. I can see the odd image here and there, but there's no intense visuals happening for me whatsoever. So I think we need to talk about that a little bit more, because it's a misconception, and people feel disappointed. But also what they have to understand is what they're experiencing inside is very, very different to what we're seeing out here. And they might watch their video back and go, it's actually all right, wasn't it? I didn't do too bad. And you're like, yeah, it was amazing. But they feel disappointed because they think, well, that was a bit weird.
I made it up.
Yeah.
I made it all up.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So that leads perfectly onto my next question. Why does a hypnosis session feel like you're making things up? And how can you overcome it? I don't know if there's anything to overcome. If you feel like you're making it up, does it matter if you're getting that higher message?
No.
Through?
I say that. That's one of the things that I say at the beginning, or I try to remember to say that, is it is going to feel, because you are bringing the information through. It is your thoughts. It is coming through your mind. It's not going to be a separate entity or being or anything else that's speaking through you with a distinctive voice. It's coming through you. So it is absolutely going to feel like you're making the whole thing up. And so you just have to give yourself complete permission to make the whole thing up, because that usually makes for the best sessions. Not, don't get so hung up on where is this thought coming from. That is where we're taking you into that theta brainwave state, and you're able to connect. It's like the guide showed me, it's almost like when we go into that relaxed state of mind, it takes the conscious mind sort of out of the way, and it opens up that channel. And that channel is what allows those higher thoughts and feelings and visuals and things to begin to drop down, where normally our conscious thinking mind is keeping us too busy to allow for that to come through. So when you're relaxed, it opens you up, it opens up space, it strengthens that connection. And the knowing, like Tony said, the knowing begins to flow, and you just have to be in a place of trust and surrender, and just allowing whatever to come through. And I'll tell you, my sessions have been challenging for me, but I almost feel like mine have been challenging for a reason, and it's so that I could understand what some clients go through and try to help create content to assist them in getting out of that conscious mind, because there are some of us who are very analytical and will overthink the information that's coming through, and that will slow that flow or even block it. So I've experienced it, so I can try to help people, because I've also had amazing sessions where you just let go and it comes through. So you just have to trust yourself and trust what's coming in.
And the more you describe, and the more you talk about it and get in there, the more comes up. That's really important too.
It's like when you get those sessions where people have the amazing information that comes through about ascension and new earth, and they have got completely past their conscious mind and all of the programming and all of the low frequency stuff where we are. They've connected straight in, and those clients will always say, it's happening now.
Yeah,
it's happening now. The light is here.
Yeah,
the light has won. You're in it now. Don't need to worry. Just let it flow.
Yeah.
And they will say to you, it is happening now. There is no more time to wait. And having experienced a session like that myself, that is exactly what you plug into. That absolute knowing of, it's all done. We've got this. Stop worrying. You all need to stop worrying.
They do.
We're all right. Everything's
just
okay.
Playing out the end of it.
Yeah, but then you come back down out of that high frequency, back into this place,
which is panic.
Into the panic zone, which is just loads of people just going, ah! And we have to maintain that high frequency always, no matter what everybody else is saying around us. And this was one of the questions that I saw today. Someone was asking about, what information have you got to give us about what's happening now with this and the who with the WEF and all these different things? And what I would say to people regarding that is, we're not supposed to be worrying about that. We're not supposed to be looking at that. That's not our timeline. That's not our energy. That's their side of the split. That's their side of the timeline. That's not for us. We are here for the light. We are here to build the new earth. That's what we've got to concentrate on. Can't stop worrying about all of the stuff that's out there. Remember, it's what's in here. If we alter what's in here to the highest frequency possible, and if we connect to each other with the highest frequency possible, and if we always maintain that and always come from the heart and push that frequency out, like what Heather said earlier, push that out. That's all we need to do. The rest happens like a chain reaction.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect way to end. So if we could all say a little bit about what Laura's just commented on, and then we can end it there on that really high vibe. I love that. Go, Heather.
I was just going to say that comes through more than anything in sessions is stop focusing on what is and focus on what you want to create. I hear it over and over and over again, because when you focus on all of the things, even all the stuff in the videos, I've pulled away from a lot of that stuff, following different this and that. because it's just keeping that energy active. And as long as we keep that energy active, we're going to stay in it. So in order to get over here, you have to start focusing and creating in your mind. What do you want to experience? How do you want to live? How do you want to feel in every single day? What do you want your life to look like? And in Kaz's session, that is exactly what the guide said. This emotional eruption, however that's going to look, is going to push us over into what we're creating now. And they said there are those of us who have our mind focused on creating these communities and these holistic health centers and these ways of healing. And the more that we're focusing, we're creating. Maybe it's already created and we're just moving into that energy, but that is what we're going to experience. So take your mind off of all of this that's going on and spend more time thinking about what is it that you want in your life and how do you want it to be. That's how we shift faster. That's how we shift faster.
Warrior Tony, do you have some final words?
Yeah, and just like Heather said, I mean, it's a perfect example. Heal yourself, heal everybody else, lift your vibration, lift everyone's vibration. It's beautiful. Share your light and make your reality what you want to see. And I think it was in my session with Heather. I think I said, what was that say? What's that say? Be what you want to see, or create what you want to see.
Yeah.
Be the something
whatever.
that you want. Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in that session. But yeah, so
be the change. Is it be the change that you want
to see?
That's it.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. That's how we do it. And we're doing it right now. Building community.
Yeah.
So
I think when you look out there right now, there's enough people concentrating on the negative stuff. There's enough negative stuff out there. There's enough negative stuff happening. It doesn't need us concentrating on that. We came in to pull all of the people who are ready into the light by shining our light as bright as possible. And a beautiful friend of all of ours shared a saying the other day, which was, a lighthouse does not go out looking for boats. The boats come to the lighthouse. And we've just got to stand there and shine as bright as we are. Shine as bright as possible. Get that heart energy out. Be loving and open to everybody. Shine as bright as possible. Heal yourself. Heal as many other people as you can. And concentrate on what you want to see happening, because we all know now, don't we, the law of manifestation, the law of creation, the law of attraction. We understand all of that. If you're over here panicking about, oh my God, what's happening over there, all that's going to happen is you're going to get more of that coming in. I just ignore it. Because they're going to be doing whatever they're going to do regardless of whether I look at it or not. I want to be over here creating so much frequency, so much light that it repels their side of the timeline. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to work on having our light charge so high that when this group of people in the middle are creating that emotional energy
explosion,
that you guys were talking about, that catalyst goes boom and shoves the two sides of the split as far apart as possible. That's when you're in New Earth, because then those guys over here who were so negative, the universe is frequency and vibration. They cannot be in the same place as we are. Once we have risen to that point, they can't be where we are. But this is a process, and at the moment we're in that process of splitting. There's got to be that catalytic energy, as you say, which is what's happening now. So because of that, we'll see more and more things that are perceived to be bad happening, because it's got to create a catalyst with these group of people in the middle who are all playing their part, like what Heather said. I mean, it's beautiful if you think about it. Because we're all in this together, literally, and we've chosen to experience different sides, different places. Next time we might experience the other side. Who knows? But this time, hopefully not.
And what came through in my session with Heather too was that we don't realize how much we're creating. We don't even realize we're doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, even by doing this video we're creating, it's like all these little things that then add up to there it is. It's just there. And we haven't even realized we've done it.
It's energy. It's
It
all
is.
energy.
And it all starts in the non-physical before it manifests in the physical. So what you put out is what you're creating in the future.
You put out that beautiful stream of pure light energy, and it will just attract more and more people who have the same frequency to that stream of energy until it builds and builds and builds and builds. And that's why they say the light is unstoppable, because the light will always attract the light, and it will always build. And it only needs a little bit of light to blast the darkness away. You switch a light switch on in a room, and that's it. The darkness is gone.
Yeah.
So we just got to concentrate on shining. That's it.
Yeah. That is a perfect way to end. Go, Tony. Sorry.
And
Tony.
shoot as many love arrows as you can.
Love arrows. Let's end on the love arrows. Perfect. All right, guys. Is there anything else to say? Should we end it there?
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. That's a good way to end it.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for being here, joining us in the chat and watching it in future.
Yes.
Thank you, Laura, so much for being on our Tuesday Talks Live.
I loved it. I loved it. This was my first time, guys. I've never done a live before.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That's good fun.
We're still working out the kinks, I think, and going live, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're doing all right.
We'll get it.
Yeah, we're doing good.
It's beautiful because it's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
And I guess it's my turn next month, so I'll have to back around to me. I have to figure this out now.
Yeah.
Next month.
You did better than me and Heather, but we'll get there, Heather, won't we?
We'll get there. Maybe
All
next
right.
year.
So I think I'll just end the stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank
Love
you.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
See ya.